A new earth is forming. A new era for humanity is dawning. Eru is rising from the stone of separation, gifting her fertility to the newborn sovereign nation, manifesting abundance in every single way. Era once again embraces the Dagda and the Fae, retrieving our voices from the masks of tribulation. Your tribe is calling. Hear it now. It's a time for celebration. This green isle, the beating heart of Gaia, pulsating with eternal love, forged from the emerald fire, inviting souls awake, all spirits from the ether, bare feet on the soil, dancing with our brothers and sisters, gathering as one. The future's here at last. Our consciousness evolves, and we dissolve the broken past. New Earth is here. It's here right now. Sense it all around you. Shake off your fears. Wipe away your tears. And feel the golden hue of God's eternal love bursting through every cell. It's time to toss your forsaken pennies into the universe's wishing well. Hello, hello, it's Mark Attwood here, Adventures of the Cosmic Suit. How are you doing? Good? Good. Me too. Before I start today, don't forget, this is my first live on Rumble. I hope it's working. It's not my first live, it's my first live on the Rumble channel that's mine. I'm live on the Patriot Party News every Tuesday, 5 p.m. BST, British Summer Time, 5 p.m., 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or EDT. I don't know what the D stands for. Has that changed as well? Right. So, yes, so don't forget, the email list is the most important thing that you can sign up to, and it is in the description. Although this is Rumble, and I know a lot of you are used to YouTube, but don't forget to do the thumbs up and share and all those things that you used to do on YouTube as well. I know Rumble's not quite as good, but it'd be great if you could do that. I haven't decided if I'm going to bother starting again on YouTube. I've restarted too many channels lost. Should I do it again? I don't know. Let me know in the comments. So I have been talking a lot recently about stuff like there's definitely a shift going on. I was particularly pleased to see Ricky Lambert, the English footballer and Southampton footballer, who did a show with me, Tom Numbers, and Matt Letizia the other day, and then decided to do a video talking about the Great Awakening. And then Tom retweeted it, and it's over 3 million views in 24 hours, which is amazing because a lot of us have been waiting. I mean, we've all been very grateful for Matt and lots of other celebrities, but the more people with a following and an influence that can come out and start talking about this stuff, the better, because we're now in a different stage of this situation. I won't call it a war. I'll call it a situation. Now, when I started my channel back in 2020, one of my first guests was a brilliant woman called Deborah Jane Sutton. And I'm just going to show you what you need to do. If you ever want to look at my archive, you go to my website, which is themarkattwoodshow.com, which is here. Here it is. It's been hacked a few times, but hopefully it's stable right now. And all of my videos are here. Lots of other things as well. Like my Twitter feed, all the poems are there. This is my course, which you can join by clicking that. Go watch a free webinar if you want to. And there's some merchandise there. But if you want to find anything, you just click on, where do you go? You go here, watch more episodes, like that. And then you click on search up there. And in this case, I'm looking for Deborah. And then I just type in Deborah. And then I search videos. And there she is, 22nd of August, 2020. It's almost 3 years ago. Yeah, let's have a look. Just make sure that video is still there. Should be. There it is. So after this video, go and watch that one because it's really good. There she is. And here she is in real life. Again. Hello.
Hello, hello.
3 years. Where the did that go?
I know. Isn't it amazing? I think we've all evolved quite a lot since then. What do you think, Mark?
Well, that's a good thing about having a gap. Because yes, I think the answer is yes.
I have to say to you that opening poem, you nearly had me in tears already, and it's the most beautiful one. And if you were going to open this with any of them, that's the one to do it with. And it's no coincidence, but I also have one called a piece that I wrote. It's not a poem, but it's a piece that I wrote called "Heaven on Earth is Already Here." So perhaps at the end of our chat, maybe you'll give me the time to read that out.
No, that'd be great because that's. You know, people pop up and give you the lessons that you need at the time. And you popped up the other day, and we had a chat the other day, and you reminded me of things that I'd not forgotten, but needed to be reminded of. And it's great, and I really appreciated that call. Because we're in this. The energy right now is in the last week, especially, has just been very, very brilliant. Is the word that comes to mind. It's brilliant, especially today. I don't know. How's today been for you?
Well, to be honest with you, I just think life is getting better and better and better. And it's all about we're the creators, right? And the higher our frequency, the higher the frequency of the reality that we're creating. And the more we love ourselves, the more that's going to get reflected back. So it makes sense to me that our life is just getting more and more lovable and just better and better all the way. I mean, it's, as you say, more and more people are waking up and realizing the power is of who we are. It's beautiful. I mean, your poem summed it up just now. I mean, it's absolutely beautiful.
It is. People do need remind. I think that's why I wanted. Well, It felt right to do a show with you now because you know, you've been through your own stuff in the last 3 years. So have I. So has everybody watching this.
Yeah.
And it's you know, we were talking about this stuff 3 years ago, but the reality of it is unfolding, and that's the. You know, I think I put a Twitter earlier and I said something like, anybody else experiencing Ascension symptoms, somebody put, I've been experiencing Ascension my whole life. And I was like, well, yeah, I know that. But it's like really for people that are kind of new to trying to understand these experiences, that, you know, psychic experiences, maybe visual experiences, physical experiences, all those things can be interpreted. And I decided to call this video "The Universe in You."
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, I don't know why. Just like
You are the universe. I have to tell you that.
That's right. That's exactly right. And that's the funny thing. So 10 years ago, I was putting out memes saying "You are the universe." Right? I was doing that 10 years ago. Didn't really understand it. I just knew it, but I didn't really understand it. And I think this is like levels of understanding that's going on, isn't it?
I think this is exactly the point because I'm finding that all these what I used to think were corny phrases like at one with nature, being at one with everybody. You know, I've heard all of this, you know, everything is energy, you know, like attracts like, all these things. We've heard them. And I don't think we're not rejecting them, but our human mind just can't get our head around it. So what's happening now is we're embodying these concepts and they're actually making sense. So they're not so corny.
Well, that's the thing. I was what was I going to say? I was just seeing if anybody was watching this on Rumble because it's the first time I've done a live, and it's very different to YouTube. I'm just checking everything's working. The process is definitely it seems quite harsh because it feels like we're being prepared. It's like being ritually prepared for a ceremony. That's what it feels like to me, but over a long period of time because it's such a big thing that's going to happen. Can we start by talking about your perspective on what is going to happen, because a lot of people are going, when's it going to happen? What is it? Is it a solar flare? Is it this? Is it that? And it's kind of like, well, my thing is what I've had this year, what I've been saying to people is, it just is what it is. You just gotta let it occur and stop worrying about times, dates, things, and all of that kind of stuff. What's your view? What do you tell people in your work?
Okay. My view is that it will be different for everybody, because I think heaven on earth, or the new earth, or ascension, whatever you want to call it, is a level of consciousness. It's by embodying that level of consciousness that you bring it into reality, because we are the vessel that brings consciousness into form. So it's going to be different for everybody. I know a lot of people already living in heaven on earth. And equally, I know a lot of people who are still suffering. So I think it's like the tipping point, the more and more people, because we can create our own heaven on earth. But of course, by working together, we're creating the collective, you know, because Mother Earth is raising her frequency and we're raising our frequency with her. And we need to, I think it's a case of like Christ consciousness, if you want to call it Christ consciousness. You know, we're accessing Christ's level of consciousness and then bringing that into physical form. So I don't see it as in we're leaving 3D, which a lot of people are talking about. 3D just means in physical form, right? But what we're doing, I think, is we're bringing that level of consciousness through us. We are the bridge. We are the bridge between heaven and earth. And we're bringing that level of consciousness into physical form through our morals, through our positive divine choices, through our frequency, through choosing love over fear, you know. So, and by releasing our density, which is the trapped emotions and limiting beliefs and all of this programming that we've been brought up with. So we're raising our frequency. That's how we're raising the frequency of Mother Earth and all of humanity, is by bringing our consciousness. I mean, I live in an area where there are like loads of holistic therapists, and not just holistic therapists, not just healing. There's people, you know, fruit and veg, organic fruit and veg. They're really passionate about it. You know, there are people that are homeschooling and setting up schools out of the system. You know, there are people doing all the things that we need them to do. And it's beautiful. And it's because people are following their hearts, they're following their passions, and they're following their morals. And I think that's a really important point as well.
Yeah, well, as you were saying that, I was thinking, you know, terms like 3D, 5D, God, universe, source, and all of that. It's all, a lot of these words are used just to make it easy for people to access that idea. You know, when I first came across the concept of 5D, it was about 13 years ago, I think. And I was like, what does it mean? Does it mean that do we die? Do we go to another place? It's all of that kind of stuff. And this aspect of finding that morality part of it is very interesting, because I've been saying, you know, it's like Bill Hicks said, fear and love, and it's good and evil, and you got this choice, and it's kind of magnified on a daily basis for me. What choices am I making? Because I'm suddenly going, oh, that's not serving me at all. Why am I doing that? Why have I been doing that all this time?
Yeah, and it's really important to listen to not only your heart in those choices, but to understand that we are creating our reality through the choices that we make. So it's really important that what we spend our time, our money, and our energy on, that we are investing that, and we're bringing it with us into our reality. We're bringing it into our future. So we've got to be really careful about what we spend our time, our money, and our energy on. Because when we invest our energy that way, and everything is energy, right? When we invest our energy that way, we are keeping entangled with it. So it's coming with us into our future. So if there's something that you don't want in your future, don't spend time, money, or energy on it.
Yeah, exactly. It's you know, it reminds me of my mum. So if I go and visit my mum, I'm like, Mum, why are you feeding these things to the dogs again? Well, I got it from the supermarket. I said, come with me and take her in the car and go down to the butcher's or the farm shop. And she goes, I've not been in here since I was last with you. And I go, why not? She goes, because it's expensive. And I go, no, it isn't. Look at it. And then I have to, it's like a loop. I have to go work out what it costs at the supermarket for that shit. And actually the damage that's causing. This stuff, you know where it's come from, that you got proper stuff here and they're really nice. And you know, and actually, and look at all the packaging and everything else. It costs, it's like no brainer. But then she flips back to the program. And yeah,
but you have to release your resistance to her being any way other than she is. I think we've all experienced this in the last 3 years.
I have.
We have to let go.
I'm telling you about the last 3 years. Well, 20 years. I have let that go.
Let go.
And she's like, why aren't you ringing me as much? And I'm like, well, you know, you've got your
She'll find her own way. And they find their own way a lot quicker when we let go, but it's just very difficult for us to get our head around that. But that's a quantum truth, because that's what you resist persists. If you have resistance to something going on in your life, you know, and you're trying to control it in some way. I was the same with my family, you know, trying to control it in some way. We have to let go. I think that's one of the biggest, hardest lessons that we've had in the last 3 years. Wouldn't you agree?
100%. Again, I was doing memes 10 years ago saying, let go, with a picture of a girl letting go of a balloon. Didn't get it.
Well, the levels of letting go is actually quite interesting, because it came up in the messages recently about letting go. And I was like, we keep saying let go, but what does it really mean? So my good friend and mentor, Liz Nagel, who was on one of your Zooms once, we did a video called What Does Letting Go Look Like? So that we could really have a look and see, what does it look like in your life? You know, letting go, because it means different things at different stages of your life, and it means different things at different levels of consciousness, I think, as well.
Precisely. And it's the same as this thing that you reminded me of the other day, which was, you know, when you're annoyed about something, you're triggered by something, it's actually just something you need to look at.
That's a big one.
That's the big one.
It's a really big one, but look at it from this point of view. I love it. It's like free healing. It's like free energy healing. The first thing is just catch yourself before you do it, before you react from that lower level. And once you've caught yourself, you just, whatever you want to say to people, just say it to yourself, and it will resonate on some level, I think. And if it triggers an emotion within you, then we need to put our consciousness on that emotion and then feel into it, because it's coming up for acknowledgement, because we have trapped it down, we suppressed it. And if we feel into it and put our light on it, our consciousness on it, feel it to heal it, and then it will pass out of our energy body. And then you'll find that even if the person still behaves in whatever unconscious manner it was, it won't trigger you. And then over time, it might come back for you to see how much progress you've made. And it might come back for you to test yourself. Your higher self is always testing yourself, right? But then after a while, that trigger will no longer be there. That's how we change the outside world, by changing ourselves. It's true. If you want to change the outside world, start with yourself. We've heard that, haven't we? And yet now I'm really understanding what that means, because everything outside of us, the life that we're seeing, is actually a holographic projection of our frequency. And everything in it is like attracts like. So if we have, let's say, some greed in the cells of our body, and who doesn't, let's be honest, that's going to be reflected back to us in someone being greedy, or a situation where people are being greedy, or, you know, in the collective where there's a lot of greed. And it's going to come and trigger us, because the energy of greed is resonating. Like attracts like. If we can release our greed, so it's not just releasing trapped emotions, it's about changing the way you live. That's why a lot of people are getting less materialistic, you know, less focused on money, more focused on joy, you know. So if you can release the greed within you, or the conflict within you, or the manipulation, or whatever it may be, if you can release that, where are you being manipulative? Where have you got conflict with yourself or with others? Work on it on yourself, and you will find less of it in the reality that you're creating. That's how we heal the world, create world peace.
Yeah, well, it brings up a lot of things. Birds of a feather flock together. I've been hello, sorry, somebody's coming in. Hello, I'm on live. I'm live on the doodah. Hello.
Doodah.
Try to keep them off camera. But sometimes not so easy when they pop in the room. Yeah, I've been teaching people in my business career about you're the sum total of the 5 people you spend most time with. And one of the tough things about the last 3 years is the isolation.
Yeah.
And the lack of choice about people that you want to spend time with. In fact, most of the people that I've really, I call it frequency matching, you call it something else. It's the same kind of thing. This is why I've done the live events, to try and meet people and get out and about. But, you know, most of the most amazing people that I've met doing this in the last 3 years all live fucking miles away. So it's not been too easy to do that. And I think a lot of us have had to, well, you know, every time I come to say something, I know exactly what I'm going to say back. So
I'll just go, shall I?
just you take over. I'll welcome to the Deborah Jane Sutton show. I've been Mark Attwood.
There is something though I wanted to just suggest. You scared me then.
Good, that's what you needed. It wasn't me, it was you.
Yes, I've just released some fear.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah. It's your pleasure.
Yeah. I was going to say we should really. We were going to talk when we talked before this week. We were talking about multidimensional natures. Do you want to? Should we talk about that? And I have got a couple of. Can I share my screen at all?
Of course you can. You just go to present down at the bottom.
Present.
And then you choose what you want to present.
Share
and then
screen.
Then it pops up in my thing, and I think I have to click something to make it go up.
Oh.
So just choose the thing you want to present. Is it a video file, a slide, the screen?
I've got it up as a document.
So that's a you can't share a document. I don't think.
Can I not?
Okay. Well, no, I think you could if you go to there you go. You click on present slides, and then you go to your computer, add file from your computer. That should do it.
No, I don't think I've got that.
Yeah, it's there. Click present, then click.
I've clicked present, and now
Then click slides at the top. Yeah, slides pops up. There's a pop-up that comes up, and then you've got
slides. Okay, I've got it. Sorry.
Add file from your computer.
From my computer.
Yeah, that should do it.
Oh, now everyone can see that or not?
No, nobody can see.
No, I've got it open. I've got it open on my screen. It's not going to work like that, I don't think.
Yeah, could do. If you click share screen, then you got entire screen as a choice or a window. Yeah, entire screen would do that. No,
I'm not getting it up for some reason. I don't know what I'm doing there.
Click present.
I'm sorry. Can I talk about it instead? I can just talk.
No. Let's just try one more time because it's worth it. If you click
your
present,
computer, I'm clicking my computer.
No. Go back to the present button.
Oh, okay, sorry. Present button.
Then go to share screen.
Share screen.
And then at the top, you've got 3 choices: tab, window, entire screen. Go to entire screen.
Screen sharing is easiest with 2 monitors. Screen sharing works best on a good computer. Some screens let you share audio.
No, hang on. What?
Share screen.
Have you clicked entire screen?
Entire screen. Okay. Yeah. Yep.
And that should do it. And then click the button. Welcome to the StreamYard tutorial with Mark and Deborah.
Oh, I don't know. And now it's not working. I'm clicking share. Share system audio.
No. Let me just walk you through it one more time.
I got it.
Okay, there it is. There's your screen.
Okay.
So go to the document.
Hey. Have we got it?
Mm-hmm.
Can you see that?
Yep.
Okay. Thank you for that. My first time on Rumble and the first time with this streaming service. So thank you for everyone's patience.
Oh, good.
But all I wanted to show with this document, you've heard of the word auras, of course, but I just wanted to show that dimensions, because we've heard of the 3D physical. So our physical bodies are our 3rd dimensional energy body. It's our physical energy body, which we can see in the center of this diagram. The next layer coming out is, you can see here, it says emotional body.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next one says mental body, right? So the emotional body is where our emotions are stored. Okay, and the mental body is where our mental process is. So that's our beliefs, our thoughts, our ideas, our opinions, all of those, right? That's where they're stored. And these two bodies together make up our fourth dimensional energy body. And this is what some people can see, okay, when they see auras. And if you go further out, you get to the astral body, etheric, and you can see the celestial and everything. And that's kind of like our fifth dimensional energy body. And of course, we have many more dimensions, but we're just focusing on these for now. Does that make sense?
It does.
So how do I stop sharing that now?
You just did.
Okay, brilliant. So I wanted to show this one. Can you see this one or not?
No, you have to reshare again.
I have to go through it all. Okay, hang on a minute.
I mean, hang on. Is the next one on your screen, Deborah?
Not yet. It is now.
Oh, yeah, but the thing is, when you're sharing your whole screen, we can see your whole screen, so you don't need to shut it down this time. So you click present again, click share screen, click entire screen, and then we're away.
This one. Can we see this one?
We can.
Okay, so what I love about this one is that with Kirlian photography, you know, it's showing you the energy layers that we can't see with the human eye, right? So we can see that an apple, okay, we think of it as a living thing, it's got an aura, but everything is multidimensional, okay? And even a spanner or monkey wrench or whatever that is. But if you have a look at the bottom, that's the bit that I like, is that you've got a leaf and they've cut the top of the leaf. And with Kirlian photography, you can still see the energy that's there.
So this must be why they're talking about medbed technology being able to regrow arms and stuff, because the blueprint's still there.
Yeah, definitely. This is what I want to I want to come back to stop sharing now. Okay, am I back? So this is really important, I think, because what people didn't, well, I didn't realize this in the beginning. The physical world is created from the non-physical world.
Yeah.
And our physical bodies are a representation of our emotional and mental bodies. Our biography becomes our biology. That's what Bruce Lipton said, right? So that's why our events, our traumas, you know, our beliefs, our thoughts, all of these are molding our bodies. And it kind of makes sense, doesn't it? Because you can see angry, bitter people look like angry and bitter, and happy, whatever, people look happy and what have you, and more positive.
Well, there's that thing that you get the face you deserve by the time you're 50. That's like an old thing, isn't it?
I haven't heard that, but it's perfect, isn't it?
Well, it absolutely makes sense, because you are.
I think our bodies are they're a representation of our energy, not our age.
Yeah, and you look at some of the great villains in the movies and TV shows. They're all sort of twisted and like screwed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But what happens is the non-physical is creating the physical, right? So you hear about people having legs amputated and they can still feel it, right? Well, if you think about a tumor or something like that, I'm not a doctor. I'm just throwing some ideas out there and what have you, disclaimer, right? But if you can take the physical tumor out, which of course, I'm not saying that's not a good thing to do, right? But if you don't deal with the underlying emotional cause and the underlying mental cause, it can just grow back again. And there's this fantastic book by Bernie Siegel called Love, Medicine and Miracles. And he looked at all these cancer patients to see why did some survive and others not. And basically, some people, when they're given a horrible diagnosis, they change their life around. They change their diet, they change their thinking, they leave the job that they hate, you know, life's too short, they go off and live a different life. And other people are giving their power away by going, oh, I hope it doesn't come back, I hope it doesn't come back, right? And completely giving their power away to someone else. If the energy that created it in the first place isn't dealt with on an emotional and mental level, then obviously it can be recreated. And I think it's really important to understand that, because we all have toxicity in the cells of our body. And the biggest toxicity, in my opinion, in the line of work that I do, is our own thoughts and our own thinking and our emotions, these trapped emotions. Oh, you just found it. Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, the one in the middle there. Oh, there. Yeah. Yeah. Love. It's fantastic. Because he's the one that also said, when you experience an emotional trauma, you're going to grow. Whether you grow spiritually or whether you grow a tumor, the choice is yours. And it's really true. And in my line of work, I see that these trapped emotions of resentment, bitterness, anger, they are really causing damage to the cells of our body, to our health. And a lot of people say to me, oh, but I don't feel resentful anymore. Oh, I don't feel hatred anymore. Right. And I'm like, fine, that's good. Now you don't, because you're at a mature age. But if you were younger and you felt it and you didn't process it, it's still in the cells of your body. And I find that a lot of people kind of are in denial about having these emotions because they don't actively feel them now. But that doesn't mean that they didn't feel them in the past, or they didn't inherit them, or maybe it's a past life, or maybe it's ancestral or collective or what have you. But waking up to the power of our emotions, to the role that our trapped emotions play in our health. I mean, that's one of the biggest waking up. That's the wake up call we were talking, weren't we? Waking up to the evil and the corruption and what have you in the world and the programming. That's one thing. But that's a scary place to be if you don't wake up to your own power of healing and your own power of raising your own frequency and creating your own reality, and bringing heaven to earth, right? So I see that cleansing that fourth dimensional emotional body and mental body, that's what we need to do if we're going to access fifth dimensional levels of consciousness. That's why people say we're moving from 3D to 5D. We're transcending the fourth dimension. To transcend the fourth dimension means mastering our emotions and mastering our thoughts. In other words, releasing the ones that are not serving us and choosing beliefs that are serving us. Does that make sense?
100%. Which is kind of the law of attraction as well.
Very much so.
You know, I when people sign up to my email list, I've just checked to see if we've got any people actually commented. We have. Hello, Jojo M88. It's not showing up on my studio. That's why I've not responded to anybody. In my, you know, I talk about, you know, why, instead of saying I am this, that, and the other, why am I so happy? Why am I so healthy? Things like this, and it becomes like a subroutine. What I've done in my life is just made it like a subroutine, and you have to pay attention to it, though. You have to pay attention to it every day, because even though you set and forget it, it's easy then to get distracted and pulled this way or that way, and then suddenly have a belief based upon what's happening around you, which is what happened with us the other day. Because I was saying, well, I can't do this and I can't do that, and you went, oh, really? And I was like, oh, fuck. Because you know, nobody's perfect at this.
Is that true? Yeah, that's exactly. A good one, isn't it? Is that true?
Oh, in fact, you know, since we did this affirmation, I'm ready and willing to reach my full potential and move forward with grace and ease, which is there.
I want to say allow, Mark. I think it's a different one. I'm ready and willing to allow, because your full potential is already there. It's in existence. But are you allowing it in? When you say reach, it's as if you're outside of it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, well, this is exactly. And this is the thing. So when we had that session, I just flopped. I didn't flop. I went straight back into the right frequency, and then 2 or 3 amazing things happened. So the day after we did that, I went to an event, and there on the wall was a poster that I think it said the 10 commandments in Sanskrit or something, and it was exactly the things we're talking about. Exactly, precisely. It was like notes from our chat, and then I'm opening this healing center here in Ireland, and we've just been waiting for the equipment to arrive to finish, blah blah blah, and you know, everything's ready. We're just waiting for Then I got a phone call a couple of hours ago saying, right, we're coming down tonight. So straight after this call, I'm going to go down and then we're going to assemble these hyperbaric oxygen chambers. And we're, and tomorrow I'll be in a hyperbaric oxygen chamber. Whereas last week, I thought it was going to be 2 weeks away. And it's like the conversation we had. Once you allow and feel that, the flow happens. I think what people watching this, and I think it's worth always going over this stuff, is that there'll be people in your life that you've drawn in at some point because of a frequency and because of a certain thing that needs healing or whatever. And then they, you might fall out. They might fall out with you. They might have a go at you and everything else. Whenever that happens, you've just got to go back to this. That's a mirror. What is it in me that needs to change? What is it in me that I need to fix? Self-healing. It's just like, you don't need an app. You are the app.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's and what I want to say, I really want to just, namaste. I see the light within you, with your healing center. I get quite emotional about it. Like I said, I'm fortunate enough to live in an area where people are opening places like that all the time. I am surrounded by that kind of people. And for you, what is so beautiful about it, what's so divine about it, is that it's your passion, and then you've put your money behind it, you've put your time behind it, you've put your energy behind it. And what did I say at the beginning? I said time, money, energy. Where we put our time, money, energy, and we have to take that first step. And you were talking to your friend in America, the Janine. I saw her on your last video, and you were just saying, take the step. And you just have to take, it doesn't matter if you don't know what you're doing. It doesn't matter if you're not an expert yet. It doesn't matter. But what you have just proved to everybody is take a step in the direction of your heart, in the direction of your morals, in the direction of your excitement. Take a step in that direction, and the universe will bring everything you need to you if you take that step. And that's what you've done, Mark. And I just think it's amazing.
Well, you reminded me of a blog post I wrote, must be 10 years ago. I wish I could find it. I don't know if I deleted it or not, but it was, it was something like step into the void and just do it. And I've actually got a track record. My whole life's been like that. I joined the Air Force and everybody said, you can't join the Air Force, you blah, blah, blah. And I just did. and I'm going to be a pilot. They said, you can't be a pilot. You're too short and fat and, poor. And I did. And then when I left the Air Force, I said, well, you can't leave the Air Force. That's the best career anybody could ever have. Well, I just did. And then I was you can't be a stand-up comic. It's impossible. So I did. And then you can't sit in a theatre company. You've got no money. You can't do no experience. So I just put a play on. All you got to do is just take that step.
It reminds me of when I became a yoga teacher at the age of 50. I mean, I'm not standing up, but you'll see that I'm short and stocky as well. And I'm not your typical yoga teacher, but nothing stopped me. And I was at 50, I became a yoga teacher. So yeah.
Well, I mean, 10 years ago, I was 18 stone. I was a heart attack waiting to happen. I was suffering from stress from the crash. It was probably 13 years ago, and my business was going, and it was a nightmare. 4 years later, I'd lost a lot of weight, and I was getting myself together and everything else. And I was on a beach in Tagazout in Morocco, and I was looking at I was taking the kids surfing basically, and the instructor said, "Do you want a surfboard?" And I went, "No, I'm fine. And in my head, I was like, "I'm too old. I've never been surfing in my life. I'm 45 years old. I can't do that." And then I sat down, and while the kids were all getting ready and having fun, and then this 80-year-old guy walks past me with a surfboard, and I look at him and I'm like, right, I'm going surfing. And I just went, give me that board, give me that thing. And I went and did it. And it was hilarious. And then I've got to tell you this story actually, because it's a beautiful moment, right? This was a bit later in a place called Sidi Kalki. There's an amazing guy there called Ali, who's gorgeous, right? He's in his 60s, but he looks like he's 30. He's just an amazing washboard stomach. Lovely, chilled out, gorgeous man. And anyway, I go and hire this stuff, and there I am fumbling about trying to get on this board and falling off and being a dickhead. He's looking at me going, and then I go back before the kids, hand in the stuff, and he goes, "Mark, you want a lesson?" I said, "I've just had a lesson, and it's not for me." He said, "Come with me," and he takes me into the sea, and he says, "Put your surfboard down there." And I'm like, I thought we were having a surfing lesson, because I'm resisting it, right? All the way through. And then he just holds my hand, walks me into the sea up to the waist. And I'm just holding this guy's hand in the sea thinking, what the fuck am I doing here? And he just goes, He's looking out to the sea and he turns to me and he goes, "Do you hear her?" "What? Hear what?" "Do you hear her?" "Yeah. She knows if you are afraid." And that was it. That was the lesson. I got on the surfboard, straight up, boom.
Yeah.
You know? It's a magical moment.
It is.
For
And
me.
it's amazing, isn't it, how those lessons come to us, and very often it's about releasing fear.
It's always about releasing fear.
I think that, I mean, sometimes I say, like, on that, you know, the scale of consciousness, I mean, all those emotions that are in the contracted state, you know, I refer to all of them as fear on some level. I mean, anger is fear on some level, you know, despair is fear on some level. And it is really important. Yeah. I mean, isn't that what Jesus said the most? Fear not, you know, it's Christ levels of consciousness. There's an example, you know, but it is about, releasing fear is the most important thing. And I see also, because we were talking about the Great Awakening being twofold, but I actually see the second part of the Great Awakening, which we're talking about, the understanding how you create your reality, or the universe is you, or what have you. I see that as twofold as well, because the one fold is the importance of processing these trapped emotions. There's loads of energy healing that you can do around that. You can do it yourself through the trigger work that you've already mentioned. But releasing those emotions in whatever way, and the limiting beliefs, you know, and consciously seeking the healing to do that, right, which is one fold. But the second way is by having a laugh, doing what you're good at, doing what you enjoy. Just take your dog for a walk along the beach, you know, and just barefoot. You're barefoot in the sand, face to the sun, you know, masculine energy coming from the sun, feminine energy coming from Mother Earth, meeting in the heart, boom, create from there, you know, and just mixing with the right people and following your passions. And when I do readings with people, one of the number one things I say to them is, if money was no object, you know, how would you be spending your time? And whatever they say, I'm like, you need to do it. You need to bring it into your life now. You need to take the first step, because I believe that all of us, and I do this with the soul profiles, of course, but I believe that all of us, we have gifts, we have inspirations, we have excitements, we have passions, and it's not something to do at the weekend. It's our calling. We're being called. It's like we talked before, didn't we, about your poems. If you didn't write your poems, you're going to feel really uncomfortable. You're going to feel like you've lost a limb or something if you don't get those poems out of you. You know, I'm like that when I read the cards and stuff. I mean, it's just the excitement, you know, whatever makes you excited. And it's not about whether you get paid for it or not, because if you need to make money, you can make money through this, but you're not doing it to make money. You're doing it because of the joy that it brings. And just following that passion, I think, is crucial. It's the most important thing.
Well, I was teaching digital marketing and business for a long time, and I realized everybody that had a problem with their business, it was never about the marketing or this or that. When you dug into it, it was about them and their emotional blockages. And I ended up thinking, hang on, this is like, I'm a therapist. I'm not a digital marketing consultant. I'm a therapist, and it happens all the time. Yeah. Well, I did this and it didn't work. And I was like, show me then. And I dig into it. So you didn't do this at all. You gave up really quickly. What are you talking about? And then, you know, it just became really funny for me being like that. But realizing that it was always about blockages. And I was talking to somebody the other day about when I had a lot of employees in a business. About once a month, I would take them all to a hotel, and on a Sunday morning, I asked them to come, which was not easy when you got a load of 20-year-olds been on the piss on a Saturday night and other things. But they come down, and I one of the things I used really successfully was the work of Simon Sinek, who wrote a book called Start With Why. And it was a great process, fantastic process, because I'd ask them all, why'd you come to work? And, you know, they give you the glib answer. Well, you know, to earn money, or because I need a job. You know, it's just, and it's nonsensical, because they've just not gone into themselves at all. And it's one of the weirdest things about being an employer, right? When you're an employer, and a lot of people watching this go, I fucking hate employers. Well, actually, employers who, like me, who set up a business from nothing with pennies in the pot, they deserve your respect, actually. But when you're an employer and you start interviewing people, and I was interviewed, the business was going through the roof, and we were interviewing like 2 or 3 people a day for months at one point, and they're all desperate for the job, and they'll tell you exactly what you want to hear, and they'll show you their CV and they'll show you their references and all of that, and it all on paper, it all looks great, and then you give them the job, and then a week later, I was with an American yesterday. I said within a month. He said no, a week. I said he's got a business in the States. Not very long later, that person who was begging you for a job hates you because you're the reason they have to get up in the morning.
Yeah.
Right. So this process of start with why was amazing, because then I get people saying, I go, no, that's not really why you want to go to work. What is it that you really want out of life? And then they go, well, actually, I want to buy a house in this area. And I said, well, how much is that house? I don't know. Well, what does that house look like? I don't know. Well, go and get it. Go and have a look. Come back next time. Show me the picture of that house, what it costs, and let's reverse engineer what you need to do to get to that house. And I did loads of stuff like this, loads of stuff, right? And then what would happen is you do a 3-hour session like that, and then some people would resign the next day. So you've actually cleared out a load of, because they didn't like it, right? It's gone. And the ones that really went through the process ended up running the company. And then I'll just tell you this last story about that. There was an 18-year-old kid there who he should have been an international basketball star, but something happened and he didn't do it anyway. He came to a job because he needed money, and he was always rolling his eyes and blah blah blah. Anyway, I ended up leaving that company and selling it and moving to Morocco. A couple of years ago, I got an email from him, and he's now like 28, 29, 30, and he said, I just want to tell you that when you did all those sessions with us, I thought you were fucking crazy. But then I started remembering what you said, and I started applying it to my life. And now I live in this massive house. I've got this beautiful girlfriend. I've got a beautiful life, and I'm in charge of this company. And I was like, wow, doesn't get any better than that, does it?
No.
And that's the thing about your job, right? I said to you, I don't think I said this to you, but I mean, healing, isn't it a wonderful thing to do?
Well, it's something that I can't not do.
I know.
And it's interesting because I've just been reflecting on the past year since we've opened the garden retreat, and just thinking, what do I want to take forward? What bits bring me the most joy? And it's like you just said. You said about the youngsters, that the ones that stayed took over the company because they had a passion. It's what I'm saying about a passion. You have to have the motivation has to come from within. And if it's just motivation to make money, whatever.
That never sticks. Just making money never sticks.
No, of course not. Of course not. And there's a lovely book as well by someone called James Altucher. I'm not quite sure how to say his surname.
I used to be on his email list. Yeah.
Choose You, right? Yeah. And I read that book the last year that I was at school teaching, Choose You. And it was just like, basically, you've got to be in a position where you can make your own choices. I mean, you can do it as an employee. I mean, it's unusual. You've got to be working for the right people, of course. But, it does makes you realize that it's good to work for yourself in a way, or play for yourself, if that's, because I think work and play, I think these are dualities that we can move away from. We can just play now, can't we?
Right.
Just play, just do what you want, do what you're good at, do what makes you feel good. I think that's it. That book changed my life. And that's the book that I read before I handed in my resignation at the school. And it's good. It's about just choosing yourself and putting yourself first, and loads of other things. I read it quite a long time ago. But it is important, I think, to be making our own choices, because we've already touched on this, that we create our reality through the choices that we make. And if you're working for somebody else and making choices against your moral compass, there's a lot of people doing that, right?
Well, that hasn't the last 3 years really shown that up?
Yeah.
I mean, I've said things like, there's millions and millions of people out there that when all the truth really comes out, they're in big trouble, because they've had 3 years now to face something, and some of them are just ignoring it and pretending it, that they're in this. It's so strange, Deborah, to witness.
Well, Yeah, but you know what I want to say to you, Mark,
I know
about
what
that?
you're going to say. I know what you're going to say. Go on.
Go on, you say it. You.
No, no. I've just got this thing's being delivered, and they're ringing me up. Hang on. Okay, sorry, just got to sort this out. You know, I told you I manifest this thing. They're here now. They're delivering the.
Oh wow!
Yeah, they've driven for hours to get here, and I'm going to spend the rest of the evening watching them set it up. Go on, no, you say, because I've forgot what the question was now.
No, you were just talking about other people, but you know, a lot of these other people that are struggling, shall we say, to see, you know, the consequence of their actions. Often there is only you, so they are actually a reflection of the parts of us that are still unconscious, and the parts of us that are still unconscious are the parts of us that are not loving them.
Precisely,
And that's a lesson for all of us.
No, absolutely, and this is the thing. I've mentioned this a few times, but I'll say it again because I might not have said it to you. But you know, in January, I got this big message. You have to put this message out, and it's going to get 1 million views. And so I did on Twitter, and I just said, "Look, we need compassion now. We have to, because we're all in this together. And you know, whatever mistakes people have made, based upon what you as a awake person thinks, you know, don't go around going, I'm a pure blood, fuck them. You know, there's a solution here. You know, although there's all this stuff saying it can't be removed, it's irreversible, it changes your DNA and everything else. I believe in miracles, because this is a miraculous place. And we create it. We create it.
Definitely. So, I mean, I believe in miracles too, and I see them regularly, like you do. But also, I want to take it to a soul level, because on a soul level, we've chosen our path. We've chosen our path, and we've all, I believe we've all chosen our own adversity. So everyone's got emotional trauma. We've talked about emotional trauma before, right? But we've all got emotional trauma in one way or another, you know, on some level or another. Some of us have had little repeat ones, and some of us have had big ones. Some people have had near-death experiences, and look how they wake up after that. But we choose on a soul level our own adversity, because we know as a soul that we're going to grow and evolve through that adversity. So before we incarnated, for example, you know, people might say, okay, I'm going to play the wife, you're going to play the husband, and we're going to have a really dysfunctional marriage, but we're going to learn to love ourselves. Okay. And it's like, okay, I'll play that role. And then, you know, the next soul, I'll come in and play, you know, a reflection of your newfound self-love, and we'll have a great marriage. Oh, okay. You know, and I honestly believe at a soul level, we've agreed to it all. And even the real horrible trauma, right? I believe, and I said this recently in one of the messages that came through, was I was listening to Dolores Cannon, and she talked about all the souls wanted to be here at this time.
Yeah.
The Great Awakening. And some of them would do anything to be here at this time, even for a short period of time. And when she said the short period of time, I was like, who's coming for a short period of time? And I was thinking maybe a walk-in, but then I was like, oh my God, that's the children. Right? So then I thought, if the children have chosen this horrendous path because they're the wisest and oldest souls, and they know that they're going to wake up humanity by doing it. And they did. You know, and when you realize that, you can transmute, because we're talking about transcending the fourth dimension. You can transcend and transmute the resentment, the bitterness, the anger, all those feelings that we have, right? The sadness, the grief, the despair, the horror, all of this that we have when we think about the children, we can transmute that into love and gratitude when we realize that the souls have done it for the purpose of waking up humanity. And no one has woken up humanity more than those children. And when I think about the children, my heart expands with so much love and gratitude. And that's something that Lucy Galley mentioned as well. Galley Lucy mentioned, didn't she, as well? Yeah. She said, because people are not waking up, the trauma just has to keep getting worse and worse and worse until we wake up to the fact that we are the creators and we've got it stored in the cells. And we don't really realize how wonderful life can be because we're so dense, I want to say, energetically. But that's a really good example of how we can transmute you know, those lower frequencies into love and gratitude, but by seeing it from a soul level.
Yeah, well,
because you can't solve that problem from the physical density that the problem's created in, because this is another thing, isn't it? If there's this density in the physical world, and this is where the problems are, if you try and solve those problems within that, it's never going to be a divine solution. We have to be able to raise our frequency so we can expand our level of consciousness to be the observer. And when we're the observer, then we can open our heart with love and gratitude. And that's what's going to change things. That's how we're going to change things, through love. Love is our power. Love is our superpower, I want to say.
It is. Yeah, it's huge. It's spiritual alchemies, Saint Germain, on a mass scale. It's we can all do this individually, and I think we are doing it multidimensionally, which is why this shift is accelerating right now. I think. Do you get the feeling it is? Because I do.
Well, definitely. Yeah. And yeah, I was going to go on to the galactic realms, but I think that's another subject, isn't it? But there's all that help as well that's coming in, that's helping us on that journey. But yeah, it's definitely it's speeding up, but time is an illusion, remember? So
yeah, I'm talking from the perspective of somebody that's still in the time thing, although it is speeding up. I mean, the amount of people that kids, everybody. So, oh, where's the day gone? So everything's going so quick. And it's
you have like the wibbly wobbly line. Sometimes time can take a long time, and sometimes it can speed up. Definitely, yeah. You're realizing that it's all relative. Yeah,
it's wibbly wobbly, timey wimey stuff.
That's it. Doctor Who.
Yeah, absolutely.
I learned a lot from that program.
Yeah, that was the best episode ever. Blink.
Can I share my Heaven on Earth is already here?
Well, I was about to ask you to do that.
Oh, thank you. I'm just going to bring it up on my own screen and not share it, because
I'll remove myself while you perform this.
Oh, I'm only going to read it.
Yeah, I think people would like to see you on your own for this bit.
Tell
me when you're ready.
Okay, I'm ready. I can read it now. Okay. So Heaven on Earth is already here. I wrote this actually a couple of years ago, but I think it's really relevant. Don't be discouraged by world events. Don't lose faith in our ability as humanity to create heaven on earth. As an intuitive energy healer who has had the honor and the pleasure of reading soul profiles and cards for numerous souls, I can tell you firsthand that heaven on earth is being manifested right now. For some, it is already a reality. For heaven on earth is not a place, but a level of consciousness. I have read for part-time healers who are inspired to give up the day job and focus their energy more fully on their healing gifts. I have read for gardeners who are passionate about growing organic vegetables and delivering them to others. I have read for gardeners who hold the vision of creating beautiful gardens and opening them up to mental health patients so they can be nurtured by the smells of the plants and the touch of the soil. I have read for musicians who are inspired to heal others through their music. I have read for medical technicians who are passionate about guiding the medical industry into more holistic methods. I have read for those who understand their gifts lie in catering to the basic needs of others, particularly the very young and the elderly. I have read for animal lovers who are passionate about catering to the needs of animals. I have read for animal owners who hold a vision of inviting inner city kids to learn about life on the farm. I have read for compassionate souls whose purpose it is to spread their loving energy to all those they come into contact with, as well as those they connect with purely through thought. I have read for those whose passions lie in helping others connect with their physical bodies through physical activity, yoga, dance, and outdoor adventures. I have read for interior designers who are inspired by Feng Shui to add greater healing to their designs. I have read for builders who are ready and willing to start building houses, communities, activity centers, etc. I have read for truth seekers whose purpose it is to open the eyes of humanity. I have read for hypnobirthers who are passionate about bringing more love and holistic care back into childbirth. I have read for parents who are homeschooling and hold a vision for an education system that puts their children's welfare first. And I have read for school teachers who are inspired to create an education system that does just that. I have read for school staff and parents alike who want to see children nurtured in their innate channel of creativity. I have read for leaders who are passionate about leading by example for the highest good of all. I have read for people who are passionate about learning more, understanding more about the energetic universe that we live in and raising their vibrations. I have read for the souls waking up at this time, and it touches my heart. I feel so blessed to be able to affirm and confirm their gifts, dreams, and visions. I feel so blessed to be able to help others in any small way step into their divine power and purpose. For in doing so, I step into mine. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Heaven on earth is in the making. Trust me, it's in the cards.
Love that.
It's just I see the divinity in anyone that I work with, because it's just beautiful, the people with their passions, and it's just about being creative and doing what we love, and it's the most powerful thing that we can do.
It is. And while you were reading that, I went on to Rumble and found all the live chat. There's actually 300 people watching us. Sorry, just kind of worked that out. That's kind of the way I do things. You just throw yourself at it, see if it works.
Exactly. But it's such a good example. Take that first step. You perfect it afterwards.
Yeah. Don't worry about it. I mean, my message is always, you don't need a certificate. You don't need a publisher. You don't need anybody to give you the approbation. Just do it, stick it up. If it's good, it will fly. If it isn't, do something else.
Exactly.
Anyway, wonderful to speak to you. Thanks,
everybody. You too, Mark. Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. Lots of love to you, and lots of love to everybody that's been watching then.
Yeah. There's loads of people in there. I didn't realize. Where can people find you?
People can find me at deborahjanesutton.com, and they can find out more about the things I do and the fun that I have, but also on my channel, because some of us are still on YouTube. And that's Deborah Jane Sutton as well, and also on Facebook, Deborah Jane Sutton. So I'm easy to find. So
yeah, YouTube. Those were the days.
And Facebook. You're not on Facebook anymore either, are you? That's where we met.
Yeah. I've not been on there for 18 months, and then I get emails from people saying, I've left you so many messages on Facebook and you haven't got the decency to reply. Like,
yeah. But anyway. I'm still there,
Well, you're obviously not as naughty as me, so that's fine.
Well, that's it. Or maybe I just say things differently.
Yeah, okay, you can have that. Lovely to see you. I'm off to set up these things.
Yes.
So, and
all the best for that. Lots of love to you, Mark. Thank you.
I'm going to do a video about this sensor once we've got everything in. You can have a look at it and come if you want. But thanks, Deborah. Take care. Have a lovely evening.
You too. Lots of love to you all.
Bye.
Bye for now.